sitting here with the legend, G-Money Gary Stevens. It's funny, I go back when I first moved down here in 1991, when I first stepped on the racetrack in Del Mar. That was turned into one of my top passions, was being at the track, watching races, and really, I think I probably went 25 years without missing an opening day. This was the first year I missed an opening day just because of fly fishing trip, but that's how much I really enjoy going to the track and watching you guys do what you do. How'd you get started in it?
I got started in the sport. I didn't get started, I was raised into it. My father's a horse trainer. My grandfather on my mother's side was a horse trainer. I've got an older brother, Scott, that's been very successful. So it's just something, I literally, there's pictures of me on horses with my mother before I could walk. So we've got old 35 millimeter film of me riding when I was 3 years old by myself. So I had a bad accident on a horse when I was 7 years old. A horse ran off with me and I bailed out and broke my nose, and I was scared of horses, and I would still ride, but I had kind of a fear. And when I was 11 years old, I worked this horse, just galloped him, a fast canter, and that was the first time I'd ever felt the power and the speed and the intelligence of a thoroughbred.
And how old were you?
I was 11 years old.
Wow.
And I felt safe between the white rails on a racetrack. There was really nowhere a horse could go other than straight, you know. And so that's when I was hooked, and when I knew what I wanted to do for a living.
So do you like training or do you like riding? I mean, which one? I think do you like the best?
There's a lot more gratification in training. You know, I trained for just a year, and it's a financial burden to train, and it's a very patient type of job. Patience in this game, whether you're a jockey, a owner, or a trainer, is very important. If you rush things and you're dealing with an animal, things are not going to work out really good. The more patient you are, the more success you're going to have. But when you're working with that horse every single day, getting to the stable at 4:30 in the morning, it's the last thing you see before you go to bed. There's a lot of sleepless nights, but when you win a race as a horse trainer, the gratification is like, I don't care the level of the race, whether it's a Kentucky Derby or a $30,000 race. It's like I really had something to do with that.
I mean, your knowledge is invaluable to a trainer, because essentially when you're riding horses in the morning, putting the work, you're training them essentially, right?
Yeah, I mean, when I'm doing the work in the morning, I'm one very small part of a big machine that's making everything hopefully get us into the winner's circle. We've got a groom, we've got hot walkers, we've got assistant trainers, we've got foremans. You got a gallop boy that gets on the horse every single day that they train. I only get on them for fast workouts, and to teach them how to go through small spaces and figure out if they like being in front or if they like coming from behind, what that particular horse's running style is going to be. That's my job.
What's your favorite track? I mean, if you were to be able to hang out at any track for the whole year instead of jumping around, where would it be?
It would definitely be Del Mar. I've ridden all over the world. Favorite tracks, that's a question I get all the time. And I love Belmont Park in New York. Excuse me. I love Saratoga in upstate New York. It's running. They're competing against us right now, and they see who's better, Saratoga or Del Mar. And it's like comparing apples and oranges. They're totally different. You want to be in the mountains in upstate New York with great horses, great jockeys, great trainers, great owners, or do you want to be on the beach in Del Mar with all of the above I just mentioned, and have the beach right next door to the racetrack, beautiful women, beautiful food, beautiful friends, some of the greatest golf courses in the world, and it's just it's a working vacation.
So as in golf, right, we have our majors. We have the U.S. Open, we have the British Open, we have the Masters, and then we have the PGA Championship. Now we obviously know what your majors are, the Preakness, the Belmont, and the Kentucky Derby. Am I missing any?
Oh, are you missing anything of the majors? Yeah, we got the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness, the Belmont, and then the World Championships or the Breeders' Cup.
Oh, Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, we've got the Breeders' Cup.
That's coming right in our backyard, isn't it?
Yeah, coming to Del Mar this summer.
Yeah, so tell us about that. Tell us how excited you were here to hear that the Breeders' Cup was coming here.
It's a 2-day event, and the cheapest race during the Breeders' Cup is $1 million, culminating with the $6 million Breeders' Cup Classic and the $4 million Distaff or Ladies' Classic, however you want to call it. A lot of money on the line, a lot of prestige. The crowds are crazy, and it's the event of the year. But besides that, we've now got the Pegasus Cup, which runs in January. It's a $12 million race, and then
where is that?
That's run at Gulfstream Park.
Is it really?
And this year, 2017, was the first year of it. A horse named Arrogate won that race, and then he went from that race to Dubai for the Dubai World Cup, which it was $10 million, but Sheikh Mohammed, not to be outdone, next year in 2018 is going to be a $16 million race, and they're on that night's program is $40 million worth of prize money.
Man,
that's up for grabs. So those are our majors, and it's worldwide.
You were talking about breaking the horses and how patient and teaching and training and all that kind of stuff. Was there any one of them that's really stood out, that you really put in that extra work and you felt like it was the one that you were counting to 100 multiple times, and then all of a sudden something clicked and you're like, we got one here?
Well, it wasn't that one particular horse that I felt like the whole team had really something to do with. That the filly, mental-wise, she could have went south really quick if she didn't have the team that she had, and that was Beholder, who she's retired now. I won the Breeders' Cup on her twice, and won multiple big races on her, and she was difficult. She was her own lady, but the most gifted racehorse that I've ever been on, and it was a combination of a lot of different people and a lot of hard work to get that filly to develop to the stage that she was. One of the greatest races that I've ever been involved in, and there are 2 great races. I won the Pacific Classic on her in 2016 against the best horses in the world, and she didn't just win, she demolished a group of males like nobody's ever seen. And then in 2016 she came back and raced against Songbird, undefeated filly in the Breeders' Cup Distaff, and it was probably the most exciting race that I not only have been in, but going back watching it on film, that I've witnessed. And I've had Chris McCarron, who's in the Hall of Fame, Lafitte Pinkai, and say that that's the greatest race that they've ever witnessed. We came down head and head the last quarter of a mile, and there was literally a centimeter separating us.
What are some things that you love about the similarities between maybe horse racing and golf? You mentioned patience as an instructor. I'm especially during kids camps, I'm constantly working on my patience.
I'm dealing probably a lot like you are as an instructor. I'm dealing with young horses a lot of the time. At this time of the year, the 2-year-olds are coming out. The horses that are going to be in the Kentucky Derby next year, hopefully, and the Kentucky Oaks, and maybe a Breeders' Cup, and this is their shaping time. And I've got to be super, super patient with them and find out what level they're at, if they're going to be an early developer or a late developer, and sometimes when I get legged up on one that's a little skittish or something, then I just tell myself internally, count to 25. The more you rush things, the more failure you're going to have, and it's like that. Me playing golf, I'm not the greatest golfer in the world, but if I can just tell myself to slow that backswing down and keep it to a 3/4 swing. I have a lot more success in trying to kill it and just rushing things, and that's the similarities to it. And then also the competition, you know, a little friendly gamble on the golf course tends to make me pick it up just a notch.
Definitely. So as far as golf courses, what's your most favorite you've played, the best one you've played, and if there's one on the bucket list, what is it?
Oh man, Valhalla is Valhalla Golf Course is probably the most beautiful course that I've played. I have a home in Kentucky. I live on a golf course there, and Lake Forest Country Club, and it's fun to play. It's about 5 minutes from Valhalla. Actually, we've got Persimmon Ridge, we got Lake Forest, and we've got Valhalla. But Valhalla takes the cake. I guess if I had a course that I could go out and play by myself with just a caddy and not embarrass myself, it'd be Augusta.
Yeah, that would be amazing. That's on mine. What are some of the things, like if you were to work on your game, like if you had the time to spend a little time on your golf game, what are some of the things that you think that you need the most work on?
Everything. Everything. I need work on everything. But I think I tend to wind up in traps a lot, and it would probably be fairway traps that I would want to work on a lot. I'm not too bad most of the time. I'll probably be horrible today since I'm saying this with the green traps, but fairway traps where I've got to use a long iron to get out, that's something that would need a lot of work.
And when you're out there playing and relaxing on your days off, what's if you were to pick one adult beverage that you could consistently just keep yourself lubricated with, what would that one be?
Keep the mountains blue and those Coors Lights. That'd be fine for me. And then we got to slip the odd Gatorade in there to stay hydrated.
Yeah, right. Okay. All right. I get it. So we're gonna go play a little, at least 9 holes. We'll just see how it goes out there, and let's go have some fun.
Beautiful.
All right.